My apartment complex sent me a party invitation. Now I'm under arrest. The first invitation to my own funeral came as a text message. The Steward requests your presence. It is with the community's profound sorrow that we acknowledge your impending departure. You are formally summoned to the valedictory gathering on April 11th, 2025. We are all deeply wounded by your decision to leave us. In response, the tenants of the Cypress Court Collective have organized this solemn occasion to facilitate our communal grieving and to honor your transition. This gathering will be officiated by our beloved Steward. Please reply with RSVP to confirm your attendance. The location and precise time will be furnished to you upon your affirmative response. P.S. All attendees are expected to arrive with a token of departure for our steward. I stared at my phone, the screen's light feeling cold and greasy in the dark of my apartment. The Cypress Court Collective? That's what they called this shithole complex? It had to be a prank. Some elaborate, unfunny joke from the management company. I looked at the notice to vacate I'd filed last month, a crisp white rectangle on my cluttered coffee table. My freedom papers, the number was local, an iPhone, not a burner. I wanted to march down to the leasing office and demand an explanation, but Cypress Court didn't have one. You had to book an appointment online for a tenant liaison to meet you. It was all so detached, so clinical. I figured I'd call their main line in the morning. I powered off my phone, the creepy bolded words still burning behind my eyelids, and tried to sleep. I woke up to a sound that wasn't in a dream, a heavy, rhythmic thump. Thump, thump, thump. It was coming from my front door. My heart hammered against my ribs as I slid out of bed. The moon was still high. It had to be 3 a.m. I crept to the door, my bare feet silent on the cheap laminate flooring. I put my eye to the peephole. Pitch black. It was covered. Thump, 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 thump. The impacts grew louder, more aggressive, shaking the flimsy door in its frame. Panic, cold and sharp, flooded my veins. I shoved my dining table against the door, the legs screeching in protest. My hands trembled as I fumbled for my phone and dialed 911. The call wouldn't connect. I looked at the top corner of the screen. 1 bar. SOS only. No, that can't be right. I always have full service here. The thumping stopped. For a blissful second, there was only the sound of my own ragged breathing. Then came a new sound, a splintering crack, followed by a metallic screech. They were destroying the lock. My body moved on its own. I backed away, fumbling with my phone, swiping to the camera app. Evidence. I needed evidence. Each twist of metal, each crack of wood made me flinch. A final, violent crash, and the entire peephole assembly blew inward, showering the entryway with splinters. A jagged, dark hole stared back at me from the center of my door. Through the hole, I saw a face, or rather, a lack of one. A smooth, featureless white mask, the kind you see on street performers, except there was nothing playful about it. The figure was large, broad-shouldered, dressed in dark work clothes. He raised a hand, and in it, he held a sledgehammer. Not just a sledgehammer. Its wooden handle was wrapped in strips of dark, greasy leather, etched with symbols that seemed to squirm in the dim hallway light. He held it up for a moment, letting me see it, letting me understand. Then, with a grunt, he swung the hammer down, not at the door, but at the concrete floor of the hallway just outside. The impact was a deafening boom that vibrated through my feet. He straightened up, reached into his pocket, and then his arm came through the shattered hole in my door. I scrambled backward, a choked gasp escaping my lips. His gloved hand opened, and a single, perfectly smooth, dark gray river stone dropped onto my floor. It landed with a soft click. Then, a voice. It wasn't distorted or electronic. It was calm, almost gentle, and it came from the blank mask. "Don't be a stranger, Zane." He withdrew his arm. I heard the scuff of his boots as he walked away. Silence returned. I stood there, paralyzed, my phone still recording, pointed at the violated door and the strange, solitary stone. Finally, my muscles unlocked. I ended the video, watching the little thumbnail pop up as it saved to my camera roll. and just like that, my phone chirped. Full bars of service. I dialed 911, my voice a broken, stammering mess. I was staring at the river stone when the police finally arrived. I jumped when one of them shone a flashlight through the hole. "Sir, you mind if we come in?" I let them in. For the next 10 minutes, I tried to explain what happened, tripping over my words, knowing I sounded insane. "I got it all on video," I said, a surge of relief cutting through the fear. I pulled out my phone, my thumb tapping frantically on the Photos app. I found the thumbnail. I pressed play. A high-pitched screech of static erupted from my phone's speaker. The screen was a blizzard of corrupted pixels, flickering between neon green and garish purple. There was no man, no mask, no hammer, just noise. Unwatchable, unusable noise. Dread washed over me, cold and absolute. "No," I whispered, scrolling through the album. No, it was right here." I checked the recently deleted folder. Nothing. Fuck. The scream tore out of my throat, raw and desperate. "Sir, you need to calm down," the taller officer said, his hand moving toward his belt. "I'm sorry," I stammered. "It's gone. I don't know how." The two cops exchanged a look. The universal look that says, "We've got a live one here." "Sir, we'll request the security footage for this hallway from the property manager when their office opens," the first cop said, his tone placating. "We'll figure this out." He noticed the stone on the floor and nudged it with his boot. "What's this?" He dropped it. The guy. He put his arm through the hole and dropped it. The second cop bent down, pulled on a pair of latex gloves, and picked it up. He turned it over, his expression unreadable, before dropping it into an evidence bag with a dismissive air. "Okay, we'll take this. But what do I do now?" My voice was small. Wait, I remembered the text. I pulled out my phone again, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I showed them the message. They sent me this last night. The apartment complex. They both leaned in to read it. I saw their expressions tighten. A flicker of something, maybe belief, crossed their faces. The taller one took a picture of my screen with his own phone. "We'll look into this," he said, handing my phone back. "We're gonna have a patrol car keep an eye on the area for the rest of the night." They left, and I was alone again in my wrecked apartment. The sun was starting to rise. I checked the time and realized I was late for my shift. I worked the night shift doing data entry in a sterile, windowless office downtown. I called my boss, got dressed, and pocketed my pepper spray. Walking to the bus stop, I saw a familiar police cruiser parked across the street, half hidden behind a dumpster. Inside, I could just make out the silhouettes of the two officers who had just left my apartment. They were just sitting there, watching me. The unease in my gut curdled into paranoia. My shift was a blur. I stared at spreadsheets, but all I saw was a blank white mask. Every few minutes, I checked my phone. No calls, no texts, nothing. On the walk home, my phone buzzed. My whole body went rigid. I pulled it out. It was a text from my best friend, Kian. "Dude, where are you? Bar night tonight, remember? I got the first round." I sighed, relief washing over me. The idea of seeing a friendly face, of having a beer and pretending this wasn't happening, was the best thing I'd heard all day. On my way back from work. "I'll meet you there," I typed back. "Sounds good, man. See you soon." My place was in the opposite direction of the bar, so I turned around and started walking downtown. A few blocks later, a plain white van with no windows cruised past me, slowed, and pulled over about 50 feet ahead. I didn't think anything of it until I crossed the street to avoid it, and it started moving again, keeping pace with me. My heart started to pound. I was on a quiet side street. No one was around. I picked up my pace. The van sped up. I saw a narrow walkway between two old brick buildings and darted into it. I glanced back. The van had stopped at the mouth of the alley. I thought I was safe. I ran to the other end, but as I emerged onto the next street, I heard the squeal of tires. The van was there, waiting for me. They had cut me off. Pure adrenaline took over. I reached for my pepper spray and sprinted in the other direction. I saw a chain link fence bordering the back end of a derelict shopping plaza. The van turned into the street behind me, its engine roaring as it accelerated, heading straight for me. I didn't hesitate. I threw myself at the fence, scrambling over the top and dropping hard on the cracked asphalt of the parking lot on the other side. I landed badly, my ankle screaming in protest, but I didn't stop. I limped deeper into the ghost mall, past the darkened storefronts of shops that had closed a decade ago. I finally stopped, gasping for air, and looked back. The van was gone. My phone rang, making me jump. It was Kian. "Hey man, sorry, something came up. I'm gonna be a little late, maybe 20 minutes. "The hell are you talking about?" Kian asked, his voice laced with concern. "This white van, it was chasing me." "I'll tell you about it when I get there," I panted. "Get where?" "Dude, what are you on about?" He chuckled. "The bar? You just texted me." There was a pause. "Who said anything about a bar, man? Are you okay?" I froze, a cold pit opening in my stomach. You just texted me." My voice was rising. "You said you and Jason were going." "Dude, I haven't texted you all day," he said, sounding genuinely confused. "Are you high?" While he was talking, I navigated to our message history. The texts from 10 minutes ago, the ones about the bar, they were gone, as if they had never existed. "Hello? Zane? You there?" "Yeah," I mumbled. "So, why did you call?" "You messaged me on Instagram like 2 minutes ago. Told me to call you." "What?" "No, I didn't." I swiped over to Instagram. He was right. In my DMs, a message from me to him, sent 2 minutes ago, "Call me." I had no memory of sending it. I hung up without another word, my mind reeling. I checked my account's login activity. No unrecognized devices. The air in the empty parking lot suddenly felt heavy, sinister. I was being watched. I knew it. My phone buzzed again. Another call. No caller ID. As it rang, I heard an engine hum. The white van reappeared at the far end of the lot, rolling to a stop. Its headlights flared on, pinning me in their glare. The phone kept ringing, a shrill, insistent demand. The call expired. I stared at the van, a dark shape against the dying light. The phone started ringing again. This time, I answered. I swiped the screen and brought the phone to my ear, determined not to speak first. The line was dead silent. Seconds stretched into an eternity. "What do you want from me?" I finally bit out, my voice shaking, a soft chuckle on the other end. It was the same calm, gentle voice from my doorway. "Oh, he speaks. Just answer the damn question." "This isn't about what we want, Zane," he said, his tone manic and gleeful. "This is about what we need." The way he said my name made my skin crawl. "We're all so disappointed in your lack of community spirit. You really should delete that evidence." "What are you talking about? What evidence?" "Take care now," he said, and the line went dead. The van's engine revved once, and it pulled away, disappearing into the twilight. Shaking, I opened Instagram again. I held my finger down on my profile icon in the corner. A second account was listed there, one I'd never seen before. The username was listed there. The profile picture was a close-up of a blank white mask. My blood ran cold. I clicked on it. There was one post from 2 a.m. this morning, an hour before the attack. It was a picture of the mask, and below it, 2 gloved hands holding the leather-wrapped sledgehammer. The caption was a single word: preparations. The post had 0 likes, 0 comments. The account had no followers and was following no one. I felt sick. I limped home, my mind a vortex of fear and confusion. When I got to my hallway, I looked up. The security camera was gone, not broken. The entire housing ripped from the wall, leaving only a dangling wire and empty screw holes. That night, just after I'd finally drifted into a fitful sleep, 3 loud knocks rattled my broken door. Westminster Police. Search warrant. I thought it was him again, coming back to finish the job. Open the door and put your hands on your head. My heart seized. Shaking, hyperventilating, I stumbled out of my bedroom, hands raised. Tactical officers swarmed my apartment. Leading them were the same 2 cops from the night before. "You're under arrest for aggravated menacing and criminal destruction of property," one of them barked, yanking my arms behind my back and snapping on the cuffs. As they led me out, I saw another officer emerge from my utility closet. He was holding a sledgehammer, the same one with the leather-wrapped handle and the strange, squirming symbols. My sledgehammer, the one I had never seen before in my life. The rest was a blur. The mugshot, the holding cell, the feeling of being utterly, hopelessly doomed. My public defender was a thin, cheerful man named Mr. Graves whose smile never reached his eyes. "So," he said, flipping through a folder, "it looks like they got an anonymous tip from a concerned neighbor about an Instagram account registered to your IP address. An account that posted a picture of the weapon just before a violent incident you yourself reported. And then we have the weapon itself, found in your closet. It doesn't look good." He mentioned the tipper had been strangely insistent that they were a friend of the steward, but refused to give a name. My blood turned to ice. They hadn't just attacked me. They had built my cage and handed the police the key. I spent 2 days in that cell. Then, just as suddenly as I was arrested, I was told my bail had been posted. By who? They wouldn't say. They gave me back my phone and told me my court date. I powered it on, my hands still unsteady. A dozen notifications popped up, but one text message from the same number as before made my breath catch in my throat. "The Steward is a war of you reckon, Miss Fortunes. Our community was pained to hear of your legal entanglements. The Steward has expressed deep concern and is willing to be magnanimous. He has urged us to convey that a simple RSVP will make all of this unpleasantness disappear. Our valedictory gathering requires its guest of honor. We will CEA's Al contact upon your confirmation. The choice, as always, is yours. We hope to see you there." I stared at the words, reading them over and over. Make all this unpleasantness disappear. A felony charge, a trial I couldn't possibly win, versus, what? A party? A trap? The words looped in my mind, a seductive promise. Cease all contact. Without thinking, without choosing, my thumbs moved on their own. I typed RSVP. I hit send. My phone buzzed with a reply less than a second later. "This is all I can write for now." They gave me the address. I don't know if I'll survive the night, but I have to tell someone what happened before I go. This is just the beginning.